My hand 365. We're back. Welcome to the Traders War Room. I've been gone for a while. I know it's been about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, give or take. I hope that's given you guys time to reflect on your trading journey, right? At some point, you need to be in complete control of your trading journey, right? And if my absence affects you, I'm sorry I was absent, but I am preparing for the biggest live class ever. I'm changing the curriculum just a little bit. The full traders course, 7th of September, right? If you want to register, I would suggest you do it. I won't be taking any other live classes for the rest of the year. This one, 7th of September, will run for about 8 to 9 weeks. Full traders course, institutional trading, and on the Fridays of all 8 weeks. So that's going to be 8 Fridays. We're going to be doing wealth building, right? So how to kind of like create a wealth plan for yourself, wealth in 3 years program, right? So it's a jam-packed program, live 3 to 4 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every week until we are done. If you've never done my course before, use the link somewhere down below and register. For the ladies, this was supposed to be a gift to you in August before I had an unfortunate thing happen in my family. Then I had to take time off and attend to family stuff. But on August, we're going to run this big special. So the special still applies. All women will pay, I think it's $180 instead of the $300 US, right? My full course is generally $300 US. It's been cut down to $180 if you're a lady. And the gents, just so you guys don't miss out, it'll be $200 for you versus $300. So everybody gets a discount, right? Guys, trading is a long-term journey. You know, I was reflecting on this book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. And you know, in chapter 2, he talks about I'm 3 feet away from gold. And he was talking about the guy who invented electricity and some other person who joins this person, but the tenacity to never give up, right? To better yourself all the time. And from that one line in Think and Grow Rich, this author went on to write this book, I'm 3 feet from gold, right? It's inspired by Think and Grow Rich. Both books say the same things. Now, listen, your journey is going to be difficult. It's going to have a lot of ups and downs, ups and downs. What you want to do as a trader in your own journey is to see a consistency of higher highs, right? Right? I hope you guys, you understand what I'm saying. You want higher highs in your trading. You want higher lows in your capital account, right? You always want to see yourself edging forward. Because of time, because I'm behind with a lot of things and I really want to focus on preparing myself for the 7th of September, I'm going to do War Rooms segmented, right? So you're going to get a lot of content from me this week, but it's going to be segmented. This particular War Room is about Euro pairs. We're going to look at 7 Euro pairs. And then after that, then just look out for the next video and the next video and the next video. I'll look at NZD crosses, I'll look at USD pairs, I'll look at AUD crosses, and I'll look at all the pound crosses, right? But by then, should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good videos from me. Hopefully, because I'm cutting them like that, each video is slightly shorter. Don't forget, I'm still filming my live trades on that how to 2x, 3x, 4x your trading account. Trading account started off with $6,000 US, and it's about almost about 23,000, right? So already 3x that account, right? About 23,000 something, right? So that's growing well. I am also dropping videos moving forward around synthetic indices, right? So just look it up, like, share, subscribe. Let's get to work, guys. Let's get to work. Right. Sorry, I was just talking quick because I want to get all the announcements and all that stuff out of the way. I'm looking at this week. We have a very busy week ahead. And maybe not really. Actually, normally the week towards NFP, markets like to stall and consolidate and not move, right? So I will be dropping a video after I finish the 5 clusters of War Room trades. I will be dropping a video on my NFP predictions. Ever since I've been doing NFP predictions, I've pretty much been accurate. Like I literally get the exact number of jobs being added. I get the exact direction of price. And sometimes if there's time, I actually give out a couple of free signals on the public Telegram group that people can take if they want. And so I'm hoping for a beautiful week that allows me to have that kind of time. All right. Right now, my sole purpose is to make sure I have all the ducks in the row for the live seminar, right? All the new stuff I want to introduce without sacrificing the main heart of the course, right? The traders course, institutional trading, right? But Monday, tomorrow, nothing too major, nothing too high impact, right? Price will just continue on its usual journey. Wednesday, 3 a.m. I'm not going to stay up for this, but yeah, AUD's got a gross domestic quarter to quarter assessment, which is different from month to month. Okay, this is actually a really big deal. Quarter to quarter is a really big deal. OPEC meetings, oil has been dropping as predicted a while back. That is going to be a big retracement after they pop that supply, so that price can go back up. Nothing too crazy there. We've spoken about this in detail. Charts are doing the exact same thing. ICM manufacturing, yeah, okay, sure, but not really a big event. It is a big event, but not really a big event, right? So there's nothing. There's really not much in terms of high impact news. I mean, oil will just continue up until, I mean, for the euro, we've got Spanish unemployment change. I don't think this will shake the markets that much. Job claims will be the first job claim for the following NFP, so not a big deal for this week, right? And then NFP on Friday, right? So we should start to see continuation in the trends, and then some consolidation on Wednesday, Thursday, right? On Wednesday, where are they? These guys, this matters a lot, right? The ADP non-farm roll pay change. I've spoken, I've done a lot about this. These guys literally, their previous thing was they thought NFP was going to give us about 330K jobs, right? And it was such a negative prediction. And if you remember, we actually got 943. Now, this is interesting. Most market analysts are saying we're actually going to get less now, right? I mean, there's a lot to talk about, man. I don't want this first war room video to be about fundamentals. I will do a fundamental analysis for you. Talk about Biden, talk about the war, talk about markets. The reaction, talk about how oil is going to come into play, talk about the real reason why, you know, Biden made that decision and how markets perceive it. We were supposed to get a bigger positive forecast for NFP this coming Friday. Remember, we needed 2 more months. The other month was massively positive. This one was supposed to be the second month for positivity on NFP. So tapering can start to happen fast, right? So we can get that strong dollar run. And all of a sudden, a lot of analysts are perceiving some negative trend. And remember, we don't necessarily trade according to this. We're not at 365. What we like to do is to really follow where the money is, right? So I will be, please do share, subscribe, like the channel, click on that notification button, because I will be walking you through all this stuff by, say, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's see how this goes, because you see, the ADP non-farm payroll change is very positive from where they were last week. And there's still like 100K job difference between the usual non-farm payroll forecast and ADP. But yeah, we'll talk about that as the week goes. Right, so there's nothing major for the euro. Right, nothing major in terms of news. So let's look at the index and then let's talk about a couple of charts. I must say, I am always, you know, extremely impressed about how price has routinely, you know, kept coming back to areas of value that we map out in these war rooms. And I really hope people are taking these war rooms seriously and actually placing trades. It's always a sad thing, you know, in a trading institution or an academy when there's only just 1 or 2 people making money. Well, it's not the case at 365, but I'm just saying, if you're not a registered student and you get to watch this stuff completely for free on YouTube, I would suggest you really exercise, you know, your right to this information and try some of these trades out. I've been very impressed with our signal so far. Right, so this is the Euro Index, right? Euro Index, and this is literally a direct replica of Euro USD. All right, for the most part, this is literally, we're looking at Euro USD. And I like to look at my indexes first, currency indexes, just to gain a weighted direction, right, which I'll then apply to my charts. But you can see that the demand here, there's a monthly demand on this thing, a break of a very structured trend line, all that kind of stuff, a big supply above, which has constantly held price. And one would be tempted to do something like this. one would be very tempted to do something like that, right? So supply within a supply, right? So now we've got that ladder effect, right? 365 traders, you know what I mean by ladder effect, right? When there is a continuous support of sell pressure or direction, right? So there's a supply within a supply within a supply. There's some type of ladder effect building here, right? And there's a bearish engulfing pattern in the month of June, and prices kind of like drop, right? In terms of glass effect, or if this demand is going to hold, it's early days to tell, right? But I can tell you that halfway through this demand is somewhere here, right? So if I just quickly do that, and if I've taught you before, you'll understand why it is I do this, right? I want to know if there's still money in this area for strong buy orders, right? And you see the month that we're in right now, August, which is ending very soon, seemingly seems to have actually taken out quite a bit of that demand there, right? To push itself up. It really looks like it kind of like, dug in just a little bit. If you do a clean MTA, I'm sure you'll find a daily demand somewhere in this area, right? One that we spoke about on EURUSD plenty of times, where they broke it but still used it, which I find very fascinating and interesting, right? So there's price. I smell blood. I'm not gonna lie. I smell a lot of blood in the street. And I'm really starting to get ready for that. And this is now gonna be maybe a little bit independent of dollar strength, right? I just smell blood in the euro, and I need to do my homework to make sure that it's not just an assumption or something that I'm pushing on the chart, something that actually exists, right? But I smell blood on the street, and if I'm right about blood on the street, then there is at least over 700 pips to gain on this particular trade, or Euro USD, that is, right? I really smell a downside. I think Euro is weak. If this demand could work, could hold, but I think Euro is weak. I think we need like another good year, of a drop into a bigger, stronger demand for that risk on asset climate to run, right? But right now, I smell blood on the street, right? So this is what it looks like on the weekly time frame, our Euro index. And like I said, once again, someone could easily be tempted to do stuff like this, right? If you wanted to, right? Noting a couple of levels, noting this, noting that, it's fine. Let's go to daily. So war room, guys, I'm not here to teach. I'm just here to give signals. Remember, I teach in different in other programs, in other chat, other videos I'll be doing prompt teaching. But right now it's just about the war room. If you want to teach, or you want to be taught rather, please come through for the 7th of September, right? So this is what it looks like on our daily time frame. So this is that line that I drew where I said there might be a demand that was broken. And you'll see it on Euro USD, but there's a push upward gap. There's a value-based demand here that worked there, right? So price is just returning to a very familiar place where it finds, its everyday buyers, so far, right? And that's what's been, the saving grace of this thing. But here, with a downward gap, pushing price down on something as big as a daily time frame inside a weekly supply, so to speak. And it's up to price. Price could be interested in covering that gap. I mean, if you look at what's going on here, you can see that buyers were introduced, bullish engulfing pattern, upward push, professional gap to the upside, right? So the strong bullish momentum, potentially willing to close this gap. All right, potentially willing to close this gap. So I'll be looking out for that this week. And all of this in anticipation of NFP. Remember, if NFP is negative for the dollar is weak, these things run. They just go. The money flows into them, right? So let's just quickly move to Euro USD from the last time we looked at it together. Right, so this is what I meant by broken demands on this thing. This demand was removed. I mean, I think for the sake of analysis, I can finally remove it, right? Because you guys have seen my charts so many times now, and the different war rooms I've done with you, right? So delete this, remove that. We know there was a broken demand here. It is, maybe we can do something like this, just to remind us, right? Just to remind myself. All right, and the reason why I'm because I'm also doing some grayscale research on this areas of value for an academic paper due sometime in September. Around supply and demand. So that's why I am no longer deleting my areas of value, because then I quickly come back and count them and do other stuff. But yeah, price broke through a demand, right? This was a previous signal I gave you. I can't remember when, but it is on the public Telegram chat, right? Spoke about a beautiful downward trend here. It happened. Price smashed demand. This area, anything that's red on my charts generally means glass effect, or the zone is broken, or don't take it, right? And I know this zone was broken when price left, right, in November last year, right? Well, during that risk on rally. Look at what risk on looks like. Ba, 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 right? During that Biden-Trump election, very strong risk on. Price broke on its way up, and now price has finally returned. So I found this quite interesting. All right, so for prices bouncing there. For me, there's really not much to do. This sell was a clean sale, took profits, not in any trades right now. I'm not in any buy trades because, again, I just didn't trust this. Personally, I didn't trust this on any of the accounts, so I didn't take it, right? And I was actually surprisingly shocked that price actually turned on that daily demand, right? So those of you who are risk takers now, and this might even happen only on Friday or Thursday or Wednesday, we'll see if prices to come back and retest that area of value like that, then potentially you could get some action, right? I won't be taking that trade. I mean, right now, the argument would be for a far much more bullish Euro USD, right? That'll make more sense. So you're looking for something like this, maybe, right? So, but again, for me, it's going to be a waiting game. I really would like to see what the big deal is. You know, what is price looking for? What is price waiting for this coming week? And what really is the euro going to do? But I do acknowledge that there's a massive imbalance here of buyers entering this market and being very bold about the direction, right? So it's like a very bullish sign, all right, maybe to put an end to this long-term downtrend, which was started by the FOMC, all right, on the 16th of June. I do think price wants to return there. Whenever it does, I'll be waiting, right? You can take it sweet time, but I do want to take a trade in that particular area. I would love to trade every single FOMC level from the 16th of June in almost every single chart, although some charts have already arrived there. I think USD JPY has already come back to its FOMC level. Okay, right. So for me, I don't really see anything of interest on Euro USD for me to take this week. Right. So essentially, cowboy traders, and a cowboy trader is a very, you know, a love of risk trader could wait for some type of pullback into the zone and then buy it up. I won't, because I don't trust it. Yes, the big picture wants to buy for now because we haven't broken a governing demand, but in any event, I absolutely do not trust this thing, right? So this thing is gonna start to pump and consolidate step by step up until Friday. On Wednesday, it might react to the ADP, right, on Wednesday, but for the most part, it's gonna wait for Friday, right? So NFP. But from what we can tell, there's been a break of bearish structure, some type of consolidation, and then a push to the upside, right? That's just clear direction, right? When your charts talk to you, it's very important to listen to them. It's just clear direction that, look, man, this downward trend was nice, but we're done with it. And if you look at Euro USD in the last, I guess, couple of weeks, couple of months, this has been its pattern. Right? This has literally been its pattern. Once again, guys, when the charts talk, it's always best to listen, right? So look, bearish structure, a breakout of it. A bearish structure, a breakout of it. A bearish structure, a breakout of it, right? So it's there. It's not a strategy. It's not 365 knowledge. I'm just saying, since about June 25 of 2021, this has been the norm for Euro USD. It's been trading within this range, right? Between this supply and this demand. And between the supply and the demand, these charts have been taking turns with each other. Okay, literally to push price down, only to break out and then push price down again, only to break out and push price down again, right? So that's been, you know, the habit. If I'm just trying to, I apologize, trying to get my third screen on my pro account just to see if I've got any pending orders on Euro USD, because if I do, then I can share those with you. But if I don't, I'm not gonna force them, because as it stands right now, I really have no interest, you know, whatsoever in this particular trade. None, zero. Right. Let's see. Let's drag this to screen 6. All right, I don't know why it's been slow. All right, so yeah, so I would assume that what's about happening is a slight breakout to the upside, and maybe as preparation for the downside. Most of the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This was 10 days. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This was a lot of days, right? From about the 26th of July all the way to the 30th of July. What? Oh, this is on the H4 chart, right? 26th to 30th is 6 days. This is 7th of July to the 11th of July, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 4 days, right? And then there's this downward structure, and there's already been a couple of days here. Let's see, 23 August, and then today is like the 29th, but market's closed on the 27th. So already 3 days have passed. If you just follow this simple pattern, right? Markets might make it all the way up here. Just by looking at what's in front of me, markets might make it all the way up here. And then after that, it's really up to the banks to decide which way they want to go. The other thing I want to do this week is to give you guys some COT data analysis, right? It's been a while since we last did that together, right? Finally, screen 6 has come to the party, right? So I just want to quickly check for you if I have any pending orders on Euro USD. I'm gonna give you guys everything, because in case I've got a rule right now not to be disturbed during the week as I prepare for the live classes. So in case you guys want exact, you know, entry, stop loss, blah blah blah, like the full signal thing, then I just want to quickly make sure that that's all there for you. Yeah, same. I feel the same about this whole thing. There's not much to offer on Euro USD if you're not yet in it, right? So you should have been in it, you know, a whole long time ago. But on the H4 time frame, which is where we are right now, the thing to look out for is this. So I'll put it this way. Okay, let's open this up here like that, right? So first of all, you want to monitor break-off market structure somewhere here, right? If you know how to trade BOS and all that kind of stuff, then that's really what you want to kind of like surround yourself. If you draw a couple of fib levels, even though I am not entirely convinced that this thing would hold price. I am not entirely convinced at all that it would hold price. They should be. This has already been contested, right here. It's been contested. Here's another consolidation that might be contested, right? So I'd worry about some type of supply here, somewhere up here. But for the most part, honestly speaking, this is a bullish chart, right? H4 is right now, as we speak, is a little bit bullish, which is kind of good because it's in line with the governing chart. Our daily time frame, for me personally, bullish. Right? I mean, I've already spoken about the structure in front of me here. Inside a massive demand, where demand's been, you know, they've been broken, but you know, they hold, and price could literally travel all the way up to here. Right? So you could get a push of price up to this cluster here, right? So Euro USD for this week will probably be a strong buy, at least up until NFP drama starts. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you know, trade wisely. All right, I think that's enough time spent on one chart. Let's look at Euro Pound next. Remember, we looked at the index. Now we're going through the currencies. So I'm just gonna go through I think I was doing a one-on-one on Thursday or Friday with one of our newer students who just finished module 1, Liz, from Kenya. And I think we looked at this chart, and I don't remember telling her this, but I hate Euro Pound. Its ability to stagnate has become like, you know, a trading curse for me. So very rarely, once I feel a particular way about a chart, I just have to wait, man. I just have to wait for this chart to kind of like give me light, and then I'll move. So until then, I'm not really, you know, looking to actually trade it. I'm very sensitive to things I have a negative trading psychology towards, because those are the kind of trades that I rush. And when I start to rush my trades, I start to make mistakes. But we can give it a full analysis in case it's your favorite pair and you like it. If you're still around and you're still enjoying this content, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It really goes a long way. It really helps. It really helps. You have to, sorry about that. I'm just kind of like multitasking here. Right. It really helps. Every like, share, subscribe. Right. So on the monthly time frame of Euro Pound, we can see, right, first of all, guys, this is ugly. Right. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before. This is terrible. This is for ranging traders, but you know, ranging traders would be retail traders, and you know, retail traders don't even look at these big pictures. And so while this is designed for them, right, literally designed, this chart is designed for their strategy, very few retail traders are maximizing on this. You know, I mean, 2 days ago, one of my staff members sent me a screenshot of how people on Facebook think it's impossible to hold trades for more than 2 days. So already we're not even, it's a different psychology out there, right? But let's look. Carefully speaking, there's a short-term demand at play right here. If you really think about it, right? If you've done my course, you'll know there are 5 types of supply and demand. This is a turning point. We cannot ignore that, right? For me, not the strongest, but has the potential to push price upwards, right? So when I'm thinking through price from a governor perspective, that's what I'm seeing. Obviously, this entire area has a history of cracking demands and going up, right? So all these other demands here, if you look at how these levels intertwine, you can tell that this is broken. This was broken during Boris Johnson's election in 2019, I believe, right? Literally before COVID was even a thing. When I was trading this in 2019, we were happy with the election trade, but we're even happier about the fact that we thought markets were going to fall. Why? This is the only time I want to be in a long-term buy trend of Euro Pound. And since 2019, I've been hoping and waiting for a drop. And every time we're about to get the drop we want, markets create a temporary demand or fully retrace up until creating a market reversal trend, excuse me. So that's kind of like where we are right now with this particular thing. It's sitting on top of a monthly demand, but creating a potential continuation pattern for a sell trade, right? 365 traders, I'm talking to you. There's a potential continuation pattern here for a sell trade. But because we are rule-based traders, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. We know that's a sell PCP, but price nonetheless is sitting on top of a governing demand, and we would be fools to go against that. No matter how big your account is, it is too small to go against the banks, right? So for now, you're going to have to be a little bit patient, or just simply trade what you see. It's simple. You can't trade what you don't have, trade what you see, right? So this is what it looks like. There's a governing area of value. If I'm looking here, I'm looking at some type of weekly takeoff. And remember, I spoke to you guys about this. Remember, I've been buying and getting out and getting in and getting out of Euro Pound. This was what we're looking at, the first channel down on the daily time frame. We took a beautiful trade there together a while back. The profits were yummy, right? And we were hoping that price would break out of there. We're using the daily time frame. I hope you guys remember all of that. The trades were recorded. I trade live. I record my stuff, you know, just for people to see. Tired of people falling for demo scams and whatever. Make sure you go for the real stuff, right? If someone hasn't done it before, they can almost guarantee they can't teach you how to get there. It's a guarantee, all right? You'll just blow accounts together, right? Anyways, long story short, we spoke about how this market was, there was some compression here, like a little shutdown of all the supplies within, and it's very, very painfully clear on the daily chart, very painfully clear on the daily chart, right? So this was the first trade we took together a while back, almost maybe end of July, beginning of August. I can't remember when, right? When markets came in here, it was the cleanest buy ever. This was good money, right? Markets rallied all the way up. I exited somewhere there. Although, if you recall, I was hoping that price would make it all the way to the top. All right, I was hoping that, the compression, unfortunately, you can't get a good read of compression until you see it in the afternoon. But I really thought would make it all the way here, and we're a little bit shy of that. And now I see markets are going for round 2, right? That's a PCP continuation pattern to the upside, right? It's a given, right? And I'm pretty sure we're going to be interrupted somewhere here again. Supply and demand number 5 is at play. So you might get something like this, and then linear, and zigzag, etc. But the idea that there's any supplies in here has been proven false. There is no supplies in there. I've spoken about it. I've taken a trade to prove it. Markets didn't turn back. Sorry, just back on the weekly time frame, right? You're looking at this really, if you're a long-term trader. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the potential push up there, right? If, of course, the current monthly demand holds, right? Remember, it's a PCP, a sell potential continuation pattern, selling, sitting on top of a current activated governing demand, right? So it's it's a clash of the titans here, and I want to stay out of that fight, right? But if something happens and markets drop down, fantastic. I'm going for it again here. Right, and this for me would be one more last step at that counter trend. And I say counter because, for the most part, this chart is dropping, right? For the most part, this chart is just dropping. So any type of buy trades would be counter, but they're quite reasonable, and they have paid well in the past, right? So if you see what I've done here with this demand, that's where my attention is. All right, honestly speaking, there's nothing else I'm waiting for now on this chart. I've taken the first buy. The first buy has worked out well. Now I'm just hoping to see what happens down here. All right, so that's the daily time frame. I don't know if you guys can see this well. Let me just zoom in a bit. Right, so I'm waiting for these levels here. I don't think there is absolutely a need at all, to be honest with you, to fight price where it is now, right? I really don't think there is a need for us to be fighting somewhere up there. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. Right there, here. I mean, you could if you want, but this is literally the definition of buying high. All right, if you did not catch this here would be the definition of buying high and buying just before a bearish engulfing pattern. That is just suicide. So don't do it, right? Don't do it. I mean, if you watch War Room, I'm assuming part of the reason why you're here is because you want to get a better sense of some type of market direction. Don't do it. What would be better, if I can remove all of this stuff so you don't get surprised, confused. What would be better is maybe something like this, maybe waiting here. Again, for me, it still feels a little bit more of a counter trend, which is not cold coffee, which is not how I trade or how I encourage people to trade. So each to their own. But there is the potential of markets coming back to you somewhere here. All right. So that's a better trade idea. That is far much more, better, something like that. Right, to here. And then you might get a pullback zigzag, or you might get a full reversal all the way down. Either or, it's a risky trade, but bullish on the governor, bullish on weekly, bullish on daily for now, and potentially, I'm sure, bullish on H4. All right, you're just looking at price struggling, right? Drop, consolidate, go back up, face up with the last previous highs that it made right there. And again, even in this particular scenario, the first real trade you want to take here on the H4 time frame would be somewhere here, right? And I think it's happened, right? Just because it hasn't touched, I really do believe the area of competition has been triggered. Area of competition in the academy, we give it anywhere between 5 to 10 pips, right? There's two pips difference between that area of value right there and that wick, right? So you should have bought in on Friday. So there's really nothing, unless the price returns there is nothing. The smarter play would be to follow this long channel and wait here. So if I was to take a risky trade, I would put a pending order in here. If I wanted to take a buy, right? If I really wanted to go against the grain that bad, and I was sure that markets were going to play with me, I would avoid this one, even though it's valid, but I would wait here. Multiple rejections, strong imbalance push to the upside, I would easily wait for price here. And if there's a zone here, it means on the daily time frame there's also confluence, right? So you've got two demands here, confluence. And now what I like to do is when I find confluence, I just like to link them with a straight line, so that when I come back, I already know that these two demands are actually supporting each other, right? Which gives me greater confidence in picking out a high probability trade. Right, so imagine the confluence here, markets bouncing off on the outside channel of this downward trend that acts like a trend line. Right, you've got a good thing going for yourself somewhere in here. So that's pretty much, you know, the trade I would take. And I'm pretty sure Fibonacci would triple confirm what I'm talking about right now. I'm almost certain of it. Let's draw a fib from there to there. Right, you see where my 0.61 sits, and let's take this point as the low, right? So right above my 0.61, right inside my 50% level, right? Price is literally I'm advocating for something to happen in that area, and I definitely am really happy to take that, right? As far as I can tell, that would be a good place to wait, right? So I'll delete this so my analysis doesn't bug me. Buy here. Remember, these buys, guys, have to make sense. So by the time price gets there, and sorry, in the background, I've got a good video loading. If you guys see me, I've been a tiny little bit distracted there. And that's because I've got my step index synthetic video loading, right? Volatility and all that kind of stuff. So I was just finishing putting it together, and that's what I've been checking up on. But yeah, so you're going to get a lot of content this week. Please do like and share if the stuff really helps you. I would appreciate that, right? So for me, if I do take a buy, it's a high risk buy, number one. Number two, it's a buy that will require a few more confirmations, right? Before I even execute it, I will require a few more confirmations. How did price get into the zone, etc., etc.? Because overall, I do understand that we're on a governing demand, but there is a sell PCP sitting on top of it, right? Right. Asset number 3, EURAUD. We're just doing euro right now, and then we'll call it a night, or at least on euro pairs, and I'll come back with more charts for you, right? So see, there's some analysis that's already been done and happened, and you should be in the money if you took the trade. This is from the previous war room. All right, so price arrived at that monthly fresh, FS means fresh supply. Area number 2, you'll see area number 2 is in line with our order blocks here. All right, price hit it, price dropped, right? So this is like a big drop. And remember, this is a big time frame that I'm looking at first, right? So you can imagine how aggressive this drop must have been on the smaller time frames. In fact, we can talk pips. And I actually saw this trade on the hedge account running. I have not closed it. And I think I should actually, because it's already end of August and my target time is up. Right, so I'm almost 300 pips, which is not bad. So I might be looking to close this on a hedge account, and then on my personal accounts, keep it running, but time to break even, you know, something along those lines, right? So this is what it looks like on the weekly, right? So I spoke about in the previous war room, so I won't waste too much of your time as to why I wanted to sell, etc., etc. But if you want to have another look, this is it, right? We're continuing this big hit that we got last year, right? At the beginning of COVID, very simple, clean trade. And then now we want to see prices going to sustain, right? So if this monthly, is this going to be a continuation of the uptrend that was started, give or take 2012, right? So banks thinking 3 months, take profit in 1 year in a 10-year span. 10 years from now is in the next couple of months, right? 2022 will be the 10-year plan for this asset, or as price arrived at a major turning point and now must return to a major turning point demand. Major turning point supply to major turning point demand. And if that's the case, then we want to catch that 10-year trend, right? We'll really want to get in. And if you notice here, an opportunity presented itself, which you spoke about 2 weeks ago, the last time I did a war room with you, where price finally entered a strong supply, and you can see it was a red week last week, right? In reaction to that, I'm still not thoroughly convinced. That's why I want to exit in the hedge account and definitely lock profits, or at least break even on this particular trade. I'm not too stressed about locking right now, right? This is a very encouraging sign. You see this here, very, very encouraging sign how markets ended, and it's a good time. So for me, if you're in the trade with me, then you would know that your stop loss needed to be somewhere up here, just above. I would expect 365 traders to have kind of like figured that part out, right? Because remember, the supply, the daily supply is this one that we're looking at, right? We wrote area number 2 right there, and it broke it, right? Broke it, but it turned. And now, judging what you have in front of you, you've got a bearish engulfing pattern, right in front of you there. So for me, this is always a good time to start to exit, right? To exit a trade, and I'll just put my SL just above there. It's a little bit of gains. Definite profits locked won't be that much, but definitely not going to make a loss on the trade, which is the main thing. At 36 pips for now, and then we'll see how price deals with this particular area of value, because you could get a retest of a particular zone. That's very, very, very likely that price could, and just pull out the brush for you here so you can see it. So you could get something like this week, right? So where price comes back, something like that, and then starts to drop. And look at this drop. If that happens, that's a perfect sell entry. So someone trying to enter here the second time, fantastic. Someone trying to enter here the first time, fantastic. If you entered with me, then this is the order block that you want to look out for to actually lock your first set of profits, but to also stay in the trade long term. But don't tightly lock, right? So don't be too close to areas of value, because naturally price will just come back and kick you out, and then you'll just watch it melt, and then you'll suffer from FOMO, because all you want to do is to get back in, like you realizing how much profits you're leaving to the table. The problem with that is, as soon as you fall for that trap, you get stopped out. So don't let greed drive you. Please remain extremely logical, right? No matter what you do, remain extremely logical. But this is a very good potential entry. And if maybe we can just redraw it and make it a little bit prettier. For those of you who didn't take the signal the first time I gave it, right, you are no longer taking the ultimate sell high. So just be aware of the risks involved, right? That price has already taken the ultimate sell high, which was this bearish engulfing pattern, which technically could be said it was tested now, right? So if you look at the end of this week, price comes back there, right? So we could say, yes, indeed, the first sell high has been tested, and therefore maybe the second one might get tested, right? But you do run the risk of price going, beyond and above you. So there would be an area of value here that I would draw. Now I'm gonna rock this as a supply. There you go, got a supply right there. Now, just want to see if can people with small accounts take this trade, because that's the kind of stuff you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about your own small account. Let's start from weekly. Let's actually see if we've got confluence on weekly. Right, so on weekly, it's still inside and it hasn't fully engulfed this massive buying candle, right? It's just a reaction to this. And on weekly, we cannot forget about this problem, right? That price actually broke the supply, okay? That's a problem, right? It didn't actually make it, did it? Yeah, it kind of was trying to make it to the ultimate higher supply, but the fact is this supply was broken, all right, on the weekly time frame. Okay, that's number one. And that there could be a better supply above, maybe. Yeah, there is, but it's way too far. you know, there is, but it's really way too far. So moving forward, you know, one would make the argument that price is back to being bullish. I'll tell you now why, because this is a proper, you know, FX pair. When banks break their own supplies, they want to go up, right? Whenever banks break the supplies, they're literally screaming, we want to go up. That's why I'm in a rush to lock profits. I am in such a big rush to lock profits. But despite the fact that we are in what I think a bullish trend, I think there's still a little bit of room for some bearness, right? I really do believe if I can remove all these red areas of value, we can then start to mark up some new places on the chart. So I do that and I do this, right? So I still think they, for example, like here, you could wait for a retest of this area. So put in an entry by the area of competition somewhere there, bearing in mind that last time price used the long red wick, so it could do that again right now, okay? And then hope that price on the smaller time frames, H4, H1 pushes price up. But on the daily time frame, in terms of structure, markets could come all the way down here, ignore all of that, or markets could come all the way down there, right? So let me just draw these two things for you so you can see what I'm saying, right? So I would, I don't know. It just sounds so far, right? So maybe I would take profits here just to be safe if I was selling. But I do believe that this is also a serious potential, right? So make that green for demand, right? And then play it safe. You know, they really shouldn't be a need. So if you have TP1 here, TP2, if the price doesn't get to TP2, and after TP1 starts to retrace, you simply close that trade, right? But you've made all the money you can make on it, right? If this drop takes place the way I think it will, then you're looking at about, at an average, 200 pips, easy money. I'll definitely take this, but you have to wait for a clean entry. So for me, I put a pin in order, I set it up, right? So look at what it looks like on H4. It's very, very interesting. So on H4, you've got a peak supply and a bearish engulfing pattern, which means, right, somewhere here, and I know the color code is starting to complicate things for you. I apologize. I'm going to make it as clear as possible, right? But somewhere in there, in that really over highlighted order block, that should keep you going. So sell here, right? So I would be looking for a move there. So any type of testing that happens there. Remember, you've got 200 pips to gain if price does come back before it drops, right? We don't control if it's going to come back now or later, right? And this area of value is quite big. So I could have two trades. Trade one would be here, very big lot size here. Trade one, very big lot size here. And trade one is worth about 35 pips. That's generally speaking, because I'm swapping a smaller area of value, right? For more pips, I could have one big sell here, right? And that means a tightish stop loss, right? Because it's all the way there, so something like that. And then trade two would have a smaller lot size, but cover the whole area of value there, right? So it's worth, for me, it's good enough. And then you really want to see this consolidation, you know, do a good job of turning price around to get you triggered into that play, right? And then we write it, right? So Euro UAD dusted. Next, we got Euro Swiss. No, I'm not even. There's no time. I'm not even going to do Euro Swiss franc. I have no bone in my body to do that. I'm rushing for family dinner, right? So EURJPY, we definitely spoke about this trade. Please comment down below and tell me you're in this, because I am, and I was so impressed with how well this trade is doing, right? I gave this to you in our last war room. All my war rooms are recorded. Most of them are normally done live, right? So you guys get the stuff on YouTube. I try to do it on a week-to-week basis. I really need to know, guys. Please feel free. In fact, just to keep me going, please do send me results. I just really want to see how many people are actually participating and listening, and if this mode of communication is working, right? Because we should be you know, dead set getting out of this thing, or gotten out of it, right? But price did break a demand. I took note of that, so I'm still holding. I am still holding. Clean retracement, come back in. If you've got this here, which worried a lot of people on Friday, I saw a couple of messages, right? And I do agree this is a PCP on the daily time frame to the upside. So it's up to you. This was a clean take profit, right? So I took half, and then the other half I'm still holding. I've broken even, and that's fundamentally because I'm hoping that price stops somewhere here. I don't want to lose my sell high area of competition, and then I have to come back and scramble. So I'm willing to let all of this go, right? As long as price plays game and does something like that. But it's starting to feel unlikely after how markets closed on Friday. Thursday was a red day, but Friday was another positive day. Then I knew for a fact that definitely EURJPY is starting to roll with the punches, right? So there's technically speaking a big change coming, but how long will that change last is the question, number one. Number two, what on earth is the governor saying? So let's start from afresh. I just got excited because, again, it's another one of those simple war room trades that you guys were given that I did share with everyone. And I'm really hoping that a lot of people took them, right? That's all I can hope for. But when you look at the governor, it's going to take a lot to convince me like that the sell side is over. I know psychologically speaking, we've arrived at a very strong psychological level, a long-term trend line confirming bearish structure being broken, and as such, by literally nature, price literally must bounce up, and that's fine. I have no problems with that. I still want to buy this thing all the way down there, and because of that, long term for now, I'm still very bearish on EUROJPY. I still believe, that there is, and remember, I'm a swing trader. So when you watch my stuff, you must always think about what is this guy looking at and which time frame and for how long, right? So that's why in one of my rooms, I walked you through market terminology. Short term means hours to days. Medium term speaks about days to weeks. When I say I'm holding something long term, it's going to be bullish, short, medium term, days to weeks. Long term speaks about weeks to months. So I'm a much more long term kind of person, right? And then very long terms, obviously the banks now, months to years, etc., etc. But when we're looking at the monthly time frame and the governing time frame, this thing is bearish. I am telling you, this thing is bearish. And so I took profits from the first trade. I'm still holding a couple of trades in there, even though price is aggressively trading against against me as it's making its way up. But I'm holding on for dear life right now. I like this. On the weekly time frame, we have this situation here. On the weekly time frame, right? On the weekly time frame, it's just there's not enough time to talk about this, but this week here, all these long weeks, hidden demands, break of market structure, it happened. There was a break of market structure here, and so I anticipate price will turn, right? Maybe this week, maybe the following week, but I anticipate price will run out of buying steam soon enough. You know how it did the same thing here: drop, buy, drop, buy, drop. I think we're in another buy drop right now. So that's why I don't want to lose the area of competition that I found for myself inside this chart. That's why I have not fully closed all the trades. And I'm hoping that where I'm parked, it's fine. Now, if you look on the daily, that's really not, that doesn't give me the most confident picture that where I've parked, I'll be fine. But all of this is there. All right. I don't want you to miss it. 365 traders, look at all this rejection. And then that engulfment there, right there. There's a supply here. There's a very good supply there. There's a supply there. The first one is still intact, not yet broken, right? So I'm looking at price really doing a number here. In fact, I would go on to actually add a new sell order. All right, so something like that. I would go on to do something like this. Personally. And again, for me, the long-term picture, right? Maybe if you're not yet used to holding forever, will that hold? Maybe, right? So somewhere down there, right? So another 1:4, right? The first one was also 1:4, but I do think we're creating zigzags to the downsides. Basic stuff is there, more lower lows, more higher lows have been created in the structure, clean downward trend. Someone was talking in the senior traders program about the possibility of a trend line being broken, right? And I do see that, and I agree. Well, I already agree with this person. It's a bit stressful, but yeah, we'll see. So don't take this trade if you're already not in it, right? If you're already in it, then that's fine. But if you're not in it, you know, it's on the riskier side of things. But personally, for me, I do think medium to long term, I will see the downside. EURNZD. Why are we looking at crypto? Let me know, guys, if this is helping you as usual. I appreciate all the comments. I know I've been quiet on the public Telegram group, even on the private one. I really have gone to my mountain place to prepare. And that's what you want from someone who's dedicating their life to teaching this kind of stuff. Once in a while, I need to kind of like just shut down. I mean, I missed about 2 weeks of this month already with some family stuff. And just to recollect myself, I do what I do best, which is to slowly just, you know, work myself out of it, you know, emotionally. You know, the death of the family did hit us quite hard. And so please be patient, but I am really preparing. Like, I really want this to be the best live version of the 365 Trading Academy course, right? So NZD, Euro NZD is already on the other side. It's already on the other side of the trend line, which I find quite interesting, right? So this is, for me, is a clean bearish chart, has been a bearish chart. Nothing is going to change in tonight's war room. The areas of values we marked up are already at play. I don't know why I am not in this trade. If I mark it on war room, I don't know whether I forgot to put a pen in order. I don't know whether I'm supposed to come back and check for confirmation, but I know for a fact I'm not in it, and I was right that it's dropping. So that's quite disappointing for me. Let's check. I just want to quickly see if we can spot some opportunities. But yeah, prices already started to drop. I can delete a couple of these red lines. This is me just checking if my levels and order blocks, you know, how far prices got into that order block. But yeah, this is a clean, you know, for the most part, for me anyways, markets leaving a supply. Supplies been a downward trend for a very long time, down. And then there's the argument that all of this, so for price to consolidate and sit at the same place from about 2017, that there might be a push up. I'm not really ready to take that situation seriously, because then price was slowed down again by supply here. Right, but maybe weekly will give us a better picture. Okay, fine. So the problem with this supply is glass effect, right? So that's the only reason why I would agree with the thesis that price needs to go up, right? Glass effect, right? There shouldn't be a lot of money left in this area of value. It could still push price down, right? Don't get it wrong. But if markets decide to push it just a little bit more aggressively above, we are in trouble, right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to have to start, you know, agreeing with the fact that there was a structure somewhere here, all right? And that structure somewhere here has now been broken or will be broken very soon. And then when that happens, it's game over. Yeah, I don't see myself holding on here. So maybe it's a good thing I'm not in the trade now. I'm wondering, right? So I would then wait for price to push a little bit up, and then maybe we can start to sell. So on the coming week, I do think we'll see a little bit more of an end to a downtrend. So price selling, of course, all the way to a demand, and then that demand starting to pick up the momentum to take price back to the upside. But again, just like the previous chart or the other chart, we've got that same bullish engulfing pattern. For those of you who are cowboy traders, because this will be a cowboy trade, a high risk short-term trade, you'd have to wait for a pull back into the zone and then take a sell. How long should you be in the sell? Unfortunately, all the way up to there, right? So not much. Really not much, but it has the potential to kind of like assist, or technically speaking, you could simply just wait to buy here, right? Just depending on which side of the spectrum you fall, whether EURNZD is long-term bullish or bearish, but on the daily time frame, you've got a bearish pattern. On the daily time frame, markets are bearish, and because of that, I expect to see more bearishness on the intraday time frames, right? So your H4s, your H1s, you should see price just bleed through, right? So there's H4 prices bleeding through after a long-term consolidation, right? So you want just a nice clean trade there, and then a drop to the downside. That's really all you could look for. Learn to take your money weight presents yourself. If markets are giving you 50 pips, take the 50 pips. If markets are giving you 200 pips, take the 200 pips, right? Don't be only want those beautiful magic swing trades that you hold for 3 months. And I'm speaking, talking to a lot of people in my academy who really are learning to view markets the way I view them. Not all trades are our Goldilocks trades, right? The goal for anyone who's done the course, with your first 6 months of doing my course, your goal is consistent capital growth. Not a Lamborghini, not a car, not to buy a house. You just want to confirm that you understand what the markets are doing and you're getting paid for it, right? And you don't want to withdraw. You want to keep accumulating that capital, compounding it to allow you to develop a trader's mindset, so that when you get to a place where you can start to use those big lot sizes, your capital matches that, right? So for me, right, it's a nice quick sale somewhere here. A very nice quick sale somewhere here, some type of this cluster here. Lock down this cluster and prepare for price to come back. If it does come back, take it, but only take it under advisement that markets have not changed their mind for direction, because I have to tell you, this is a very strong buying area here. So markets might not, if markets come down to this area first, then you might as well just buy into that supply, honestly, because that's a very strong buying area here. But you might as well. I would prefer markets first go get a retest up there before touching down here. But we don't always get what we want, right? So just be mindful of that. And the last chart for the night, guys, at least when it comes to euro pairs, is EUROCAD. EUROCAD, right? So let's start her from the very beginning. EUROCAD from the government perspective, and these charts are pretty much filled and looked very similar. Right, so we can see from the jump, we've got some type of glass effect that is going on, literally from the jump, because markets have literally been just one way about it, right? I mean, if you look back, the stats goes back all the way to 2016, 2018, rejection in 2020, and it's created some type of range. I mean, it's not really the most significant cleanest trend, but it's created some type of range, for the most part, but also creating higher lows, so steadily moving up, so to speak. And I think we should look at it in comparison to everything else. Very much all over the place. Okay, well, let's talk about it. It is our last chart, at least on the euro stuff, and then I'll come back to you guys, maybe do some pound pairs, etc., because euro and pound generally moves together, so you want to get some confluence and a couple of trading ideas flowing. But from the jump, I would fundamentally classify this somewhat bearish. All right, this is somewhat bearish, like long-term direction, very bearish. Even though there's class effect 365 traders, the supply is not broken, number one. Number two, the orders are not yet fully depleted, right? Yes, our rules might want us not to trade that supply, which is fine, but we can't pretend like it's come to an end now. And the other thing is the fact that markets keep building this. So keep making sure that there will always be a constant flow of sell pressure, right, in the markets, and we all know that's important. And so that would make what is currently happened in the last 4 weeks, right? This is pretty much the whole month of August, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles on a weekly time frame. That's the whole month of August, where price pretty much just consolidated, but really consolidated to create a supply. You can see this long weeks rejection of potential sell high, or rather, sorry, I'm also on the monthly actually. So this is like and consolidate, drop, consolidate, drop, right? Potentially. right? So if we go to the monthly time frame now, and again, sorry, before we even do that, then we should talk about where would price go in the long run. In the long run, let me just quickly go back here. Right, so there's this situation here where markets have created, strong levels for themselves. And then there's here. So in the long run, this is the only demand on the chart. I would not necessarily call this a demand. This here is the only demand in the chart. Right, so it's kind of like a direction and a target, long-term direction and target. I do think this thing is bearish long-term, and we've got a target, right? So we're looking at, if you're a master of entries, you've got about 700 pips. That's good. That's a good eater, right? So I'll be very much interested to get into this trade, even though I feel like it can be a little bit choppy, right? So on the daily time frame, we need to talk about potential entries. What do we see on the daily time frame? Please don't forget, there'll be more videos coming out. Please don't forget that. More analysis on different pairs for those of you who trust 365. And it's difficult not to trust us because all our stuff is public. I mean, you see the results for yourselves, right? So there's this here, and then there's this here, and then there's this here. Complete repetition, continuous rejection. So I'm just going to do something like this here. There has to be, right? Like price, every time price tries to come there, it gets stopped dead, right? So one would argue that now there's a current, the most recent supply there. And where price just turned now is like a potential demand, but there's really not much to it. I would wait to see how price reacts. Maybe this is a good place to hold the trade, but then again, if you're into swinging, then you better be ready to be patient to remove all of this, right? Price really would have to drop. And I'm not entirely sure if this is the strongest, best place, because this place is really based on a rejection of a previous supply. And if we go any higher, we might as well have sold first up there. So it's a wait and go type of trade, but yeah, I'll be looking for some deep sell opportunities. And that's it, guys. I mean, the only euro pair that I didn't do is Euro Swiss franc, and that's because, man, I'm not really into it. I don't want to trade Euro Swiss franc, but now I feel bad in case it's someone's favorite pair in the world and they want to trade Euro Swiss franc. I think, let me just quickly open it, and then we can talk about, if there's any potential on that particular chart. But otherwise, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I do hope you have a beautiful week ahead. It's going to be a very busy week, traders. Markets are going to be, trying to anticipate, right? So there we go. All the signals I gave a long time ago with the gentleman called Caleb in the public Telegram group. We're talking about which demand is going to hold, which isn't. The demands are still holding. Price was going up on the daily time frame. A few buys were taken there, but for the most part, I closed everything a long time ago, and I haven't actually come back to this chart. But let's see what we have. So this is Euro Swiss franc. All right, this is Euro Swiss franc on the governing time frame, and all I'm seeing personally is just step ladders going down. So supply on top of supply, so supply there, supply right here. Yeah, some type of supply there. Look at that imbalance right there. Third supply, and then a little bit of this, but this is no longer supply, or it could have been a supply, but then price has broken through, right? And really, there's one demand here where we bought, and maybe somewhere down there. But for the most part, because of a break of market structure, this is bullish, right? Well, once you get a break of market structure, you kiss that structure goodbye, right? So that's just how that normally works. And because of that, I can see myself waiting for a breakout trade. Breakout trade in line with supply and demand would be the better version. On the weekly time frame, as you can see in front of you, right, market sat down on this demand that I highlighted in the other war room, which is fine. I was not in the trade. I didn't take the second buy. I took this first buy, didn't take the second buy. But yeah, if you took it, do let me know. Okay, right? So markets kind of like set here, and markets are They did kind of like create a supply here, that's a bearish engulfing pattern, but not something that can't be undone. I don't think this is like the strongest supply in the world that it can't be undone, right? And then here we've got, you know, a simple downward trend, markets pushing down, you know, a bearish flag, something, and then another supply here, somewhere there. Right, so the big picture is trying to push up, and in the smaller pictures, you know, weekly, we're still bullish. And then here, we're already engaged we've made contact with a supply that could potentially change everything, right? What we do want to see, to be honest with you, if I ever really come back to get invested in Euro Swiss franc, what I would need to see is markets pushing out of this, right? And if that happens, then I'm fine. I'm fine with, you know, taking a long-term buy trend, right? But for now, it is bullish, but be very careful, right? There are multiple supplies to deal with along the way. Multiple supplies to deal with along the way. So I'll take this trade as my extra trade after I've taken primary trades, broken even, protected capital, locked profits, then sure, I can come here. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. I appreciate you. If you're still around, let me know you made it to the end. Shake my hand, trade safe, trade wise, make your money. 3, 6, 5.